Hello, good afternoon, everybody. How the devil are you? We're doing this at an odd time during the day because a few family things this week that were going on. We're going to go through Brendan's press conference. New to me, it's new to Brad. Neither of us have watched it, but I tell you what, if I was a baggage handler, I'd have had a day off at East Midlands Airport today because I tell you what, according to the paper, every man and his dog's flying in to talk to Leicester. It's ridiculous that we're going to sign this many players in, 14, 15, 20 odd hours or so? I don't know. This is Leicester, and this is Leicester Till I Die TV. Good afternoon.
It's time! Strap yourself in, because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
And now, here's your host.
Right, Chris.
Hello, how are we? I do like that beginning because it reminds me of when we used to win things. Do you remember those days? On the day that Chelsea fans are moaning about relegation being a possibility, I'm going to have to go to Chelsea and have a drink of whatever they are drinking because, come on, let us get real. Doug's in. Good afternoon, Doug. How the devil are you? He says, congratulations on the 1.4. Thank you very much. It's only just, so it's a bit sort of up and down like the old brides knickers, so to speak. Renee is in. Good afternoon, Renee. How are you? Andrew says he didn't see any dogs. I tell you what, just watch the playback of the Leicester Southampton game because there was 11 dogs wearing blue then. I'm kind of happy at the transfer window. Really? Afternoon, Chris. Says Spencer, good afternoon. And as a bid coming for Yuri, apparently 19 million. You know, like I say, we are now... it's now just gone about 7 minutes past 1 on Wednesday at 11 o'clock tomorrow. And we've got a match. Well, I'll keep saying well done, FA, for putting Man United and Leicester on the deadline day. TV. Football's all about TV, isn't it? Do you remember FA when we didn't have any fans going for how long? And you went, we need the football's nothing without the fans. Oh, fucking hell, mate. Sort yourselves out, FA. Foe's replacement for Fofana could be. I mean, we're going to go through that at the end. We're going to go through the conference first. I haven't seen it. Brad hasn't seen it, so it'll be very interesting. And then we're going to go through some replacements, signings, loans, whatever. We'll be doing that at the end. But let's welcome him in, looking beautiful in red. We're going to say hello, Brad. How are you?
Hi, mate. I'm good, thanks. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not so bad. I'm surprised that, if we're going to sign all the players that we're being linked with again now between now and the end of the window, I think these newspapers basically look down a list of who might be available. Oh, we'll put in with Leicester today, and we'll put in with Leicester today.
Yeah, definitely. It's always the case, isn't it? When you know for certain the club's looking to strengthen a certain area, and when you take the chains off your little rat and release them into the wild of Chelsea Gardens, then you're going to get linked with a centre back, aren't you? So yeah, it's no surprise really.
And I mean, can you believe Chelsea fans worried about relegation?
I mean, relegation's a bit drastic, but you got to be worried if you're a Chelsea fan. It's a very shaky start. You know, these owners could be quick to temper in terms of bad form. I did jest actually, and people might get the wrong idea. It's nothing against Chelsea as a club. This is purely on the player. And after a couple of months, we'll all be fine with it. It's nothing. But there was a picture of Chelsea with Tuchel like that, and I captioned it saying, Tuchel telling his assistant how big a box he needs to clear out his office for in the morning. And I just, it's just, but they are having a bad start. And I
thought you were going to say it was a version of Spot the Ball, Spot for
maybe it was for Chelsea. We talk about Brendan comes to the end of his tenure here at Leicester. Maybe he's done all he can, taken us far, and etc. etc. It happens elsewhere, it seems, and maybe Tuchel with all his fancy signings isn't enough to get Chelsea motivated and going, because they seem to have the same problems they've been having since he's been in charge.
I just think that they wanted him so badly, and when somebody suggested that are they dragging this out because we were quite insistent on the money, and I just don't know. I mean, under Abramovich, you don't know what shady deals went on. I thought Chelsea had sort of got rid of the criminals that were running the club, but apparently not, because they're taking us for fools, aren't they?
Well, they are a little bit. I mean, I literally did say to you, didn't I? They're really desperate to have him. They really want him in the squad, but they're willing to fly him to America to check his leg out. And it's like, right, but why all the way to America? Why isn't your staff good enough to assess play? Because they haven't done it with anybody else who may have struggled with injuries. I mean, I see that they're prattling around Everton the way they prattled around us. So it could be a case of, well, you prattled us around. You came to us and said, we want Fofana, and we went, he's valued at 85 million, and by the way, we don't need to sell him, so don't undercut us. And they prattled us around for nearly 3 weeks of this window. So if they want to be petty, let them be petty. But as soon as
who is prattling who around when they know what the price is, come in with that price?
Yeah, I don't see how it is, but it's American owners, I don't want to.
No, this is it. This is it. Maybe he doesn't trust Tuchel. I don't know, but
maybe.
I would love, and I don't want Yuri to leave, but if he is to leave now, I'd love him to go to Liverpool and just piss every Arsenal fan off that have been orgasming over him for so long, because they've just pissed about again, haven't they?
Yeah. Again, although you could argue Arsenal have done some good transfers and that, and then
they have, yes, yeah,
and they probably had a better window in terms of they're probably looking at Yuri, and Yuri's situation is different because it's not like Leicester have got 4 years to hold on to Yuri. They've pretty much got today and tomorrow before they can't no longer demand a price for him. So you can understand more why Arsenal and Liverpool's now are circling and going, well, you let the because we let the ball slip, maybe value him at 25 to 30 million. And they're going, are you sure? Because we can take him off your hands for 20 and maybe some add-ons. But after that, we're not going to come in again for him. We're going to take him for free. So that's a different situation for a lot of reasons.
It is. But it's. We must have sort of an idea of who we want. We must have a backup plan, even without this Martin Glover being here. We don't just think, we've sold him now, let's have a look who's available. They're going to have a list and crossing people off probably as they all leave, if you like. The club.
Yeah. Well, if what recent players have come out and said, maybe the replacement's already there. Dennis Pratt is happy to stay and fight for his place. Samore has suddenly done a Mendy and gone, I want to stay here and turn my career around. We've seen him play in what was a big game against Chelsea, so it's not like he's just going to get tossed in for 20 minutes against, I don't know, Bournemouth or something. He's obviously got a feature. So maybe the club already have him in there, and this is just the opportunity then players need to feel that they've got a chance at Leicester to get the career going. Who knows?
No, who knows? Who knows? And if he does want to get rid of some players, he should have accepted Fulham's bid for Vestergaard again instead of trying to get another couple of million. But hey, like I always say, and if anybody hasn't seen it yet, please do go and check out. It is on the Leicester Till I Die TV channel on YouTube. Just type in Leicester Till I Die, it will come up. It's in the latest videos. On Monday night, 9 o'clock, I've forgotten it was bank holiday. He had friends on, but he very kindly came in. But Rob Tanner, who you'll know from BBC Radio Leicester, he's followed Leicester for ages. He does have the contacts, and he came on and, well, he wrote a very good piece on The Athletic, which if you subscribe to, I do say go and read it. I actually went through it with him on the Monday night as best we could for the time. And we also sort of put a few viewers' questions to him, if you like. And it's such a good read. But as he said, there is no, because somebody was asking about extra investment, and he said there's no way the top will sell the club.
No.
If he was going to, when Vichai sadly passed, then he would have done. He may take investment in, but he will still retain overall control. So, those are the people that are calling top. I'm sorry, And as Doug says here, I mean, I've lost a tenner on Parker being sacked because I'd got Rodgers down for the first one. Joking, guys, joking. I was surprised by it, but yeah, Watford managers have lasted longer than that.
Yeah, they have. It's an interesting topic. Actually, it's something that if you're free after the end of the show, I'd want to talk to you about, because it's definitely an interesting topic. There was talk, and apparently this is something that's come from Fulham as well, that he has a habit of being a stubborn rich child with his 2,000 or 1,500 jumper he has on every match day, of starting to turn on the board, blaming them for shortcomings, i.e. transfers, etc., and not really taking responsibility. And then the board go, you do remember we're your bosses, so you can get out, not us. We own the club or whatever. Yeah. So there's talks that he's not the best at dealing with the hierarchy, which you just have to say that's got to have played a major part in it, because I cannot fathom a reason with how Bournemouth are with managers and how lenient they are to try and get things to work. To give him only 4 games in the Premiership sounds ridiculous. But if you are free afterwards, Chris, I'll
we'll have a chat. No, definitely, we'll have a chat. Just remind me at the end, though. Otherwise I'll forget. But I mean, obviously, I live in Bournemouth. I know a little bit about the club. And even when Eddie Howe took them down, they did not want to sack Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe had to resign because he felt he wanted a
new challenge.
Exactly. And he felt he'd failed. I mean, he'd done so much for that club. That guy, they should have a statue for him outside that club, I tell you. And even then, there was the Maxim Dabin, whatever he's called, the Russian owner, lives down Sandbanks in Poole, and he was the owner then. So, they don't sack managers just for a couple of bad results. And they hadn't started that badly, let's face it, for the side that's come up. But I said this is one of the reasons that I saw Bournemouth getting relegated was because of, Scott Parker. He's just, managers have reputations, and I just don't think he's a Premier League manager. He's probably a good second-tier, third-tier manager, but not a top-tier manager for me. Same as you'll see Allardyce and that sort of manager. That they will probably keep you up in the division, but he's never going to get you into Europe.
No. Except for that one time that he got West Ham into Europe and they sacked him. So
well, yes, all right. There's always the odd exception, isn't there? Thank you, Rob. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
And can I just say, I don't know if he's watching. I don't think he will be. I think if the kids are back at school in Leicester or not. But to Ant from Ant's Leicester Fan TV channel, if you say once more that you should we have Sean Dyche at the club, even in the short term, just until we get a better replacement, then this will happen.
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
And the problem is that he's being deadly serious about it as well. James is in. Good afternoon, James. How the devil are we? Rene said on Twitter he's seen that FaZe is at the KP training ground. I'd read, and we're going to come to that after the conference, that he was actually flying in. So that wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me. And sometimes, we get a sort of from left field a player that you're thinking, oh, who's he? I mean, I'd never heard of either Sumari or Daka when they came, but that's what Leicester are good at. That is what Leicester are good at.
Yeah.
It sustains the club. We used to sort of always have to bring youth through and sell them, and yes, we do have this habit of buying players and then selling them on for a lot of money, but that's what keeps the club going.
Yeah. Okay.
Look what Man City have sold this season.
Yeah, look what they spent.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Right, let us start and let us bring in. Whoops, daisy. Let us bring in our mate. Our mate. He's still there. He's still in situ. Do what he's done there. Well, he hasn't done there, but I wish. Subscribe to the channel if you can. We're trying to get to 1.5 by the World Cup break. It would be great if we could do that. I think we just hit the 1.4, but if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And if you have subscribed, please press the old like button, because that does give us that does really help us. So, yeah. Let's have a start. I struggle to hear. I'm going to be honest with you, but the first person always asks quite a few questions, don't they, Brad? So we'll try and go through sort of one person at a time. That might be better. So here we go. This is our Brendan, as they say.
Going to talk about Wesley Fofana. I'm sure you're expecting it. There's been a lot of speculation around his future and a potential move to Chelsea. Do you have any updates around that situation?
Nothing. As of yet, no, nothing been confirmed. So I'm sure if anything is, then the club will let you know.
If and when it is confirmed, Brendan, how important is it to try and bring players in before Thursday to replace them and add to the squad?
Naturally, that would be the case, but we have to wait until there's any confirmation.
And looking at Thursday, obviously you play Manchester United that day. I know you'll say you're focusing on the game, but will part of you be thinking what may happen or may not happen on deadline day?
Well, we've waited until this point, and not a great deal has happened. But we're hopeful that if we that we can do one or two things that can improve the squad and help the squad. So, but that'll be taken care of outside of the football game.
And if players were coming in, if Fofana gets completed, have you been looking at replacements since the speculation has started over the last few weeks? And do you have kind of targets ready to go before the deadline?
Yeah, I've said it all along. It's obviously very, very late in the window. However, our recruitment team have done a fantastic job over many months in terms of preparing possibilities. And of course, as time goes on, that can change. But the guys behind the scenes have done some great work. And like I say, if we have to hopefully press the button on one or two, then hopefully we're able to do that.
And do you have any frustrations that it is so late in the window? We're kind of going into 4 games into the season, and the window's kind of been the longest it's ever been as well.
Yeah, I just think it's what I think every single manager would want, to be able to get the players that they would want in pre-season to be able to work, and if not, get them in through pre-season. So, but that, unfortunately for us, that's not been the case. We haven't been able to do that. So I've said it before, I can't lose energy and focus on what I can't control. So what I can is control the players and that we have and do the very best with what we have.
And could you see any potential outgoings before deadline day as well? Any other players who may be looking for a move away?
Not at this moment in time. There's been no inquiries as of yet. So yeah, unless that changes in the next 48 hours.
And we'll leave transfers for a second. Looking at Manchester United, what have you made of Erik ten Hag's kind of first 4 games in charge?
Yeah, I think Eric's adapting to the country. He'll, in the league, he'll understand very quickly. It's the tempo and the intensity will be different to where he's come from before, and obviously the magnitude of the job. But it's just time. He needs the time to be able to assess the squad under pressure, playing in the games. he will need time to bring in the players that he wants, and then time to put in place the philosophy he wants. So, of course, in the modern game, that can be difficult, but given time, I'm sure he'll do very well.
And have you come cross paths before with Ten Hag?
No. I met Eric at the league managers meeting, or Premier League managers meeting. Sorry, a little while back. So that was the first time I'd met him.
And also, I wanted to ask you about just finally on Scott Parker. He left Bournemouth this morning. You talked about managers not having loads of time, but we're 4 games into the season. What was your kind of reaction to that news?
Yeah, obviously bitterly disappointed for Scott. He's done a great job in getting them promoted. And of course, over the course of the summer, he's had his own difficulties in terms of wanting to get players in. Scott knows the level, having been in the Premier League, and as a manager, you know where you want to be able to bring your squad to order to be competitive. And I think it's just been really unfortunate for him that he hasn't been able to do that. So, and then obviously it has resulted in him leaving his post. So now he's shown very early on in his career as a manager, Scott, that he can do a fantastic job. And we all know the business now, that you can lose your job, and it's unfortunate. So now I'm sure he'll go away and he'll get another very good post.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
How many of those questions were sort of wasted, to be honest with you? I don't think that was Jason, but whoever goes first gets a chance to ask a load of questions. And it's like, I don't want to know what he thinks about Scott Parker. I don't want to know what he thinks about Eric Ten Hag, because he's going to blow smoke up their arse. Of course he is.
Yeah, I feel like he's like a general pop. That's more of a present term I'm using, which I've never been to, but thanks to Shah, I know Gen Pop. But that's more like it's like somebody's given a general list of questions that other journalists want, and so we're not going around every individual journalist. Otherwise, Paul Brendan would have like a 7-hour interview probably to handle on certain days. But yeah, very strange questions. I don't know why people always do this when a manager gets sacked. What do you think of him? They're going to say, "Oh well, I thought he was a knob and he stole my garden." No, man, the garden one was good. Never liked him. No, they're going to sit there and, they're going to sit here and say, yeah, it's sad that he's gone and I feel sympathy for him. What you're supposed to say either. Maybe if you're a Mourinho, but even then, when these managers have retired and they have rivals on there, they're respectful of each other. We see it all the time. But people want to read about these things. So bit of a low start to the press conference. There wasn't anything new we learned from it in terms of transfers, apart from...
So I was going to say 2 points that I did know. I mean, nothing he knew. I mean, this was yesterday on Fofana. But what I did like was the fact that, he's saying, well, about the Leicester Man United game being on deadline day. And he sort of said, well, I'm going to concentrate on what I can control, which is the players, the team selection, etc. And in a way, I'm he can't do anything if he's not at. I mean, I know I've been moaning about, him being there, but he will have sort of said, right, yes, get this player, you can get this player. He's going to give them the ones that he wants, and they're going to know the ones that they want. And again, keep saying, but if you do go back to the Rob Tanner interview I did, you'll learn who were his players, Rodgers, and who was sort of the club's players. But I suppose, sort of looking at it like, say, he can't really, if he wasn't at the game, then nothing really he could do, because it's got past his stage, hasn't it? It's all with the club officials.
Yeah, and again, this is why every football club has a big backroom staff behind the manager. Gone are the days where he'd have a meeting with Tim and Jim, and they'd say, right, we've got this player deal, we've got this player deal. Which one do you want more? And Rodgers would go, I want him because he was, I want him over him because he's better for us. And that was it, deal done. Now you've got guys who, and I know rumours start the second a deal's almost over the line, like this deal is for old Wes, rat boy. I'm going to keep calling him that. I don't care what people say. I don't care how petty I sound. He's still a rat boy.
No, I'm not even going to put it on the news or anything once he signs. I'm done with him basically.
Yeah, exactly. I think we all are. But he would have gone like any manager would have gone right. These A, B, and C. This is my top choice. Ideally, I'd want to get him through. This is my second choice. If he's still just as good, but he might be a bit older and he might want to, or whatever his reasons. And if you can't get him, and we really are struggling, get this in, Vestergaard it. Vestergaard it. Give us depth and number. And that's what his team go and do. His team will keep doing the research. His team will keep negotiating. His team will sit down with his club and get something worked out. And he can do what his job is. And that is to get, like he said there, to get my squad that are happy to be here prepared for the game on Thursday. Because it is a big game. And I know not just because it's Manchester United, but it's a big game in terms of getting our season up and running. Because it's as nice as the performance was against Chelsea in the effort, it counted for nothing then, and it can't keep counting for nothing in the long run. So, he really has to concentrate on his job. So it's good to see that the structure throughout is allowing Brendan to do that, and we're not going to be missing a seal on the sidelines on Thursday.
By 14 seconds. Let's not go there, eh? Right. Let's go back to Brendan.
And we'll go to Naz from Premier League.
Hi, Brendan, UK.
Hi, Naz.
Brendan, results have not sort of registered as you'd hoped, but are you pleased with the majority of the performances that have been in the majority of the games? Because the performance levels have been there, haven't they?
Well, certain levels. I think it's just this league is all about consistency. And if you can find consistency in the performance level, then you can end up getting consistent results. I think we should have more points than we have. I think that's fair enough to say. We've been in good positions in games, and of course at the weekend I felt we should have had something from that. So, but you got to be able to turn those performance consistently into results, and it's not been ideal, of course, the start, and it is very early. However, we would have hoped to have made a better start.
How important is it as well if confidence and belief levels drop for you and the squad to make sure those levels are still there when you're going through this kind of run?
Yeah, well, it's very important. I think what's important at this stage is that there's clarity for the players in terms of the game idea, the plan, and then just reinforcing there's no magic formula. It's based around hard work. The hard work will give you the confidence, and then from that you have a better chance to succeed. So it's just working hard every single day, keeping things as simple as possible, and then obviously you get that little bit of luck as well in the games.
You mentioned after the Chelsea game about maybe being a little bit more ruthless in both boxes, and if you had done that, maybe you would have had the points that your performances deserve. Would that be fair?
Yeah. I think just a little bit of intensity, and like I said, we conceded some goals from outside the box, which you want to have pressure in those areas. It's an area where the red flag comes, because you get players at this level 25 to 30 yards away from goal. They can shoot, they can combine. So you have to be able to recognise those moments in the games and then go and press the game. So that's something that we analyse and look at and look to improve on.
And Thursday's game, it's an ideal game, really, if you were to get the 3 points. What a game to do it in, Manchester United in front of your home fans.
Yeah.
And, ideal scenario, potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a matter of time before it will come, and we would love to happen on Thursday. So, but we'll go into the game with the confidence. As I said, we've started well in most of our games, so we can get a good start in the game and look to impose that intensity right the way through, and then collectively, because we're a team that we have to be all together. Everyone has to be synchronised in what we do, and if we do that, then we've shown that we can be a good team.
Just finally wanted to highlight a couple of players that played at the weekend. Boubacar Samari and Dennis Pratt.
Mm-hmm.
Thought they did very well, and how have you found their sort of progress and sort of kind of reintegration back in after Dennis's loan spell?
Yeah, for the likes of Bouba, I'm pleased because he helps us get through the pitch a little quicker. He can progress the game. He's obviously short in game fitness, why he only played the length of time that he did. But I was pleased with him. I've been really pleased with him in training, so I think that if he can translate that into the confidence in training into the games, then he can hopefully have a really good season for us. Dennis, like you say, he's been involved in the club before, and he's been keen to try and show that he can have an impact on the squad.
Brilliant. Thanks, Brendan.
Cheers.
I could fall asleep on this one. I don't know about you. A lot of obvious answers there. I mean, yes, we do need to get the consistency, but it was interesting that he was asked about the performance.
Yeah, and I think Brandon was very right to say that, yes, in parts, it has been good. Because, again, if you kind of quickly sum up every post-match we've done, Brentford was good for 60 minutes. Southampton was good for 60 minutes. Arsenal was probably good for about 2 or 3 minutes, then they'd score, and then it was good for 2 or 3 minutes, and they'd score. So that's a bit different. Chelsea was good for probably 80 odd minutes if you take out the goals, because obviously twins. But overall, that was probably the closest to a full 90-minute consistent performance that we saw. If you abide by the fact that there was obviously confidence issues and still the mistakes there. And I think that's what Brendan's angling for. And hopefully, like we're probably crossing all our fingers, we're hoping that was a sign of this get in front and then see it out stopping. Because we seem to be in the mindset that Brendan was wanting that the second we went in front. And I don't know if that was, a misinterpretation with the squad or if that is genuine. But if Chelsea was anything to go by, hopefully the idea is to go back to that, being intent, being on the front foot. And then if you're 2 or 3-0 up with 15, 20 to go, that's fine to try and shut out the game and kill your opponents off. I think it's finding that balance. And like the commentator said there, the interviewer, journalist, maybe the home crowd, maybe the improved performance will encourage the fans. A loud noise at home. We've got a decent record against Manchester United over the last 3 or 4 seasons.
4-2, we won this fixture last season.
Yeah, haven't lost in 4 competitive games against them. Maybe more in all competitions if you include the FA Cup game we had against them. Who knows? This could just be that perfect tonic you need to bring to an end a bad run. But I did feel that this press conference might be a bit easy, as in questions and easy answers sort of thing.
Yeah.
Interesting though, and I don't know if you're just about to go on to this. He speaks highly of Samore, and maybe it's time allotted, I don't know, but he kind of touched on the fact that Pratt was still here. He seemed really in depth more of Samore in terms of his training, fitting into the team, playing more, but it seemed kind of went, Pratt wants to be here, but he's still not really going to feature much. And I don't know if I'm misinterpreting that, but I did see that feel.
Not saying you're misinterpreting it at all. It's the way you interpret it. And let's be honest with you, we interpret things different ways. I didn't pick up on the Pratt thing because Dennis has been here before. Samari is the new player.
Yeah.
So what I thought was quite stuck out for me was Samari had to come off because he lacked match fitness. Well, why does he lack match fitness, Brendan?
Wow.
Maybe it's because you're not playing him.
Well, yeah, true. But that does bode well. The fact that he's saying he only took him off match fitness and it wasn't that he was unhappy with anything does bode well. I mean, I don't know. You and Craig might do an 11, I'm sure, beforehand.
Yeah.
But I'd be very intrigued to see if any of you, especially after hearing the way he's speaking about Samore, of course, Chowdhury could be a case for that. We know it all too well. But to see if he makes it to your 11 Manchester United, because I'm now thinking, might see Samore in there again if that's how he's.
If he moves Ndidi back into defence, you never know.
Yeah,
to fill that gap. The other thing that's what I got out of it, and yes, it will be interesting. It's not me that picks the team; it's Craig. So we'll see what he goes for.
Great. We'll have Paris in goal then.
Yeah. He's not that bad. Come on. He picks better teams than Brendan does sometimes. Just
true.
talking though about consistency and what you have to be. Somebody posted it on Facebook, and if you haven't seen Zaha's interview post the game yesterday when they got 1-1 draw with Everton, I think it was, and he basically said, we have got to stop this defending when we've gone a goal up. He said, because it is so frustrating. And the guy that posted it went like, yeah, what every Leicester fan thinks as well.
Exactly.
And it was just, he could have been saying exactly what we thought. But anyway, David says here, I like to know if when we start a game and we look obviously off the pace and lacking passion intensity, how does he change intensity during that half?
Chris, he who should not be named has joined Chelsea, according to Sky Sports. It has just broke. I've just got a notification on my phone. A deal worth up to 75 million. Wesley Fofana joins Chelsea from Leicester. That's just a notification on my Sky Sports app.
And he's trained with the team this morning.
Well, I hope he fell down a mine shaft.
Yeah, I do as well. But it does mean that he is not now the most. Well, he's not going to be the most expensive defender because Maguire was more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's only a little snippet. Maybe the headlines will entail that the deal eventually would make him the most expensive one. I think
it says here 70 million plus a possible 5 million and add-ons. But let's face it as well, 75 million. What did we pay for him?
40. We do have to remember the sell-on fee to Saint Etienne as well, which I think is why.
Did we pay that much for him? No, we paid 40 for Tielemans. We didn't pay 40 for Fofana.
Or maybe that was the price they were holding out for and we knocked it down. Maybe it was only 30 odd million. I can't honestly remember. Maybe it's the Tielemans deal I'm confusing with 40 million and it was a bit less.
Now. Yeah, I'm just going to check it now. How much did Leicester pay for Fofana? 82.5 million with add-ons. That's euros, by the way. That still seems a bit expensive. I don't think we played. Let's have a look. You've got me wondering.
I mean, the report in his sale might tell you how much Leicester paid for him originally.
I do like Transfer Market. They usually know all their stuff. Wesley Fofana. Here we go. From St Etienne to Leicester. Well, 30 million. So we've, and I'm sure we'll have put some sign-ons, Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Terry, I think, knows some news that we don't. His history now. So goodbye, Daka. Terry, what are you doing? Have you been on the old falling down water a bit early today?
I reckon he was typing that, and someone said Daka, and he's done one of them, hasn't he? He's gone, well, screw you for Daka, and just press send. Ain't you, Terry? You've had one of them moments.
Chris says, haven't St Etienne got 25%? I don't know. They will have a sell-on fee at some point. Welcome along, Chris, by the way. Again, and welcome to James. James is in the chat as well. Good afternoon, James. Just catching up with everybody here. And a good thing, I mean, I know I keep going on about it, but it was probably one of the best interviews I've had. I think it was better than my Fabrizio one from last year that he knows, because he knows people at the club. You know what I mean? And he used to be able to ring. He said he used to ring Milan Mandrić up and say any news, and he'd give him some news to print. But he does like what players do on the training field. He's not one of these managers, Brendan, that says like, "Yeah, it's all right. You're not being very good, but I'm going to put you in anyway." And like he said there with Samarin, I did pick up on that he has been showing signs of improvement on the training field. You know what I mean? So that could be good. Can't wait for March the 11th. I did put it up as a date for your diaries, guys, a week ago. Make a note, 11th of March, 3 p.m. I'm sure it will get changed for TV. That is the return of Hellboy, as they say. Right, let's have a look what your favourite and my favourite manager continues to say.
Jason Tuxwell.
Hi, Jason.
7 wins in the Premier League this calendar year, 2 of those against teams that were relegated towards the end of last season. How concerned are you by the longer-term trend of how the results are going this season, not just the start of this campaign?
Yeah, listen, the game's about results, of course, and we just continue to work hard and find those results.
What does success look like this season? Did it change at all? Do your targets and goals change despite that start to the campaign?
I think I'd mentioned before that I would wait to reserve what that ambition would be until after the window closes, and I think it'll be a lot clearer where we're at after Thursday.
Understandable. On Saturday, you spoke about the need to be more.
Sorry, just picking up on what a couple of things Jason said there. It does put it in perspective. 7 wins in a calendar year, and 3 of those against relegated teams.
Yeah, it does. It does put it in perspective, and it's quite harrowing when you look at it like that. But you know, it also helps the media put pressure on a situation. You look at Steven Gerrard. You know, 4 games into a season, they're not having the greatest start. But suddenly, it's only 4 wins or 5 wins he's had in 16, 17 Premier League games. I mean, what next? Are we gonna say that Leicester haven't won a game in 100 and something days because that's how long it's been?
Hey, you've been reading my BBC post, haven't you?
I've glanced over it a little bit, maybe, mate. Maybe.
I maybe mentioned the fact that it was 2,700 odd days since we were last at the foot of the Premier League. So we journalists can kind of use these figures to back us up. And it's quite, he's waiting to reserve. And I guess this is quite fair to him, really. He doesn't want to commit until he knows when transfer window shut and he knows what we have, players we've got. I mean, if we look at all our, I've got my sort of prediction here for the teams. I've got where are we? I've got Leeds to be bottom. I mean, they're proving me wrong. Southampton to be 18th. They beat an 11-man Chelsea last night. Well done. You know how to do it. So I got Man United in 7th. So who knows? So we do these predictions early on, and I think he was quite right to save judgment.
Yeah, I agree, and I can understand the frustration. So the people always look, and it's all about your own perspective. Some people, me personally, I do games on like a blockade of 3. How have we done? Okay, how can we we need to either match or drastically improve that, and obviously Leicester's would be, they need to drastically improve that. So if, say, for instance, we draw on Thursday and then we go to Brighton and win, who despite their form suffered a defeat last night, which I know did us no favours in the predictions side of things, but it shows that just because you have a good start doesn't mean you're susceptible to go on a bad run there. So if we can get 4 points out of these next 2 games, things all of a sudden can look better. But again, it depends on your perspective. And yes, relegation form, saying we've only won X amount of games in like 20 games or over this calendar year, but it is also 2 home games into the season.
Can I just say, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but seeing as you mentioned the prediction league, can I just say there was 4 games played last night. So between 3 of us, that's 12 predictions, right? 2 were correct. You got 1 point for the 2-2 Brentford away at Palace, and I got my first 3.
You did.
1-1. Yeah.
I checked back on the scores and I was like, I know one of us has got that right. I'm sure one of us went 1-1, and it was you, sir. Well done.
It was. Thank you, sir. I'm actually only a point behind Steve now. Welcome back, Steve. Thank you. Don't have any more holidays. People with a better understanding for you. But yeah, it's my first. I feel like I'm up and running now. Like Brendan, got my first goal score, 3 points. I'm up and running. But it won't last long. Right, let's get back to our Brendan.
More aggressive, have more desire, and be brave when you were asked about conceding another goal from outside the box. Now, you said something similar back in February when asked about set-piece defending. You said, it's about organisation, desire, and the will to head the ball. We're putting in lots of work to be ruthless in our defending. Do some of your players have the right desire when it comes to defending?
I think what you've seen from the set-piece scenario that we've improved in that aspect. So that's something that needed to improve on, and at this early stage, I think we've worked well in that side of it. I think within the game, it's a collective, especially when you get into the final third. I think it's one where you as a team, you have to, in certain areas of the pitch, you have to stop crosses. When it comes into the box, you've got to get the first contacts, and that's something that I think that it's more about consistency. I think we've shown that we can do that and we can keep clean sheets, but it has to be on a consistent basis, and that's decision making at times from within the game. So hopefully that's an area, like I say, we want to improve on, and hopefully we can do that.
I mean, you talked about it, as I mentioned there back in February, about putting in lots of work, and you talked about it over the summer as well. I guess you can't coach or necessarily coach desire and aggressiveness. So give us an idea about the type of work that you did put in to get those set pieces, as you say, better this season?
Yeah, I think it's always one of the aspects that is very difficult to transfer is will and a desire to be first to the ball. We do lots of work, obviously on the field, like you say, on the static positions from set pieces and looking at that organisation. But it's always about that contact and getting the first contact. So that's done throughout various numbers of exercises.
Thank you.
Basically, just questions from last season, weren't they, about the set pieces? I thought the good question was about desire. Are the players showing enough desire?
I think they are, but I think when you have such a turmoil year in terms of your inability to adapt and read set pieces that oppositions are taking against you, obviously most notably corners, more than dead ball situations. It's a long process because you have to figure out a new system. We know certain players just like to be able to stand still in the box, so finding that, I wouldn't say motivation, it's a very difficult question to answer without potentially using a word that's going to get taken out of context. But I think making that shift, making it so as a team we're collectively better at defending set pieces, means you have to be unified in your job, what you're doing as a whole, and not just 3 or 4 players doing their job in the box and the rest sort of picking up the pieces. 4 games in, I don't think anybody scored directly from a corner, like a cross hasn't come in and dropped in the box and put in, or a header's gone in. I could be wrong. I'm sure you might even correct me on that. So, but if that's the case, it feels like we definitely already had the improvement of not conceding from a corner. We're not dreading a corner as much as we were last season. I feel it's just in that final phase. I think, Amati, who I said, just become a little bit of a scapegoat, but I think he's one of the players that everybody can relate to in the sense of, I think sometimes...
That was very interesting. Sorry, just to interrupt there, but talking of Amati, because he actually did say that the reason that he was picking Amati over Soyuncu, he was asked this, I don't know if it's this conference or not, but if it is, I apologise for saying this in advance, but he said he picks Amati because he's not wanting to leave the club where Soyuncu is, and he wants to play players that are committed to the club. 2 words, Youri Tielemans.
Problem is Yuri's very happy to to focus on Leicester, get his job on the way, and then let whatever happens. And we still don't know until Thursday ends. Yuri might go, oh, all right, no one seems to be that interested in me, and I like this club. I don't want them to lose out on money. Where's that 2-year deal you was floating around? All right, I'll sign it. We don't know. He might not. He might go on a free. But Soyuncu's had that issue when his head was scrambled after the Euros performance and the dogged season he had and losing his place. Maybe Soyuncu, it's more of a case of he's seeing what happens. He's not sure if his head's where he's at. Maybe he needs to go and have a fresh start. Maybe he's concerned about his family. And Brendan's just gone, you do you. If someone comes in and that happens, we'll deal with it. But until then, you focus on you, get yourself right. Just remember, though, Thursday midnight, Friday morning, I want you in training. Focus on it. If not, if you're still here, and so, we did see Soyuncu warmed up, so he's clearly ready to use him if he needs to. So he's on a mind to use him.
He did all right for 90 minutes against Stockport. All right, it was Stockport.
So I just think that Leicester would rather him sort himself out, and then if something does happen between now and midnight Thursday or whenever it is, it officially shuts, 11 o'clock, whatever, that he's still a Leicester player, and then they're more than welcome to bring him back into the cycle and get him in. But just touching quickly back onto that Daniel Marty point, I mean, he was, there was a lot of blame put towards not closing down Sterling for the shot. And I think even Brendan said if he closed it down quicker, yes, it loops over Danny Ward, and it's very unfortunate, but that doesn't come about from it. And the team needs to react better. It feels like Leicester have worked on stage one, which is not concede from a flipping corner in the box like it's a goal. And step 2 is getting that ball out, but step 3 is following that ball out as a team. And I do feel that sometimes, not just a Marte, but maybe an Evans, maybe a Yuri, maybe a Madders is kind of in between whether to press that ball and try and go out for it, but we've got to make sure we're stopping a shot. And I think some players are caught between putting a body between the goal and the defender and closing down the initial danger. And we did just a few more tweaks that hopefully they're still working on them, and we'll see eradicate.
The point that came up, and Doug, I don't know if Doug's still in the chat, but I did the show on Bank Holiday Monday, Bank Holiday Banter show, about where we looked at everybody's all 3 shirts for every team. And I did say that when I was researching that, I did find a website that was advertising shirts for sale, and it did say, warning, may include clothing. And I'm like, and just following on from that, I've just seen this on Sky, right? And whether this is, I don't know that this is an excuse. If I say tongue in cheek, that isn't actually as bad as it's going to sound. But Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, I've never been able to say that. So
Aubameyang.
Continues Chelsea talks despite jaw fracture. I love the fact that he's talking despite he's breaking his jaw. And I think he was probably not real, because obviously they don't really like it. Just made me laugh. I thought I would share that moment with you. Anyway.
I'm surprised by that rumour, by the way. I thought Chelsea had been a bit more sensible. But if they're buying one useless
we'll leave that, because obviously that's Chelsea, and I'm not particularly bothered about those. But the title just made me giggle. Right, back to Brendan. Here we go.
Thank you. Just one from me, I think. I've noticed in the past few press conferences, you've talked about consistency. You've also talked about everyone being in sync. And I wonder, are you worried that somewhere there's the club, maybe with you and maybe with the players, there's not complete synchronicity at the moment about what you want and what you're getting?
I think that I mentioned before that any environment that where you can develop in has to be stable. And at the moment, our environment, the stability is not there for various reasons. And I think that'll change quite a bit once the window closes. But I think this window has been a real challenging window for us. There's absolutely no question about that. Players that maybe thought they were moving on that are not. Hoping to get players in to improve and help Obviously, hasn't been able to be done. And then players in last years of contracts. So for a multitude of reasons, I think what is important is it's that continually beating the drum that being collective is so important. Because without that, without spirit, we've got talented players, but it doesn't count for anything if you're not together and if you're not talented. So that's always something that you always have to reinforce as a coach and a manager. But like I say, I think once the window shuts, it'll settle everything down and allow us hopefully to push on.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not going to go too much on that because it's an old one, but I just want to say that maybe things are harder at Leicester than we thought they were. I'm getting feedback. Only because if they're having to wash in a sink now and can't use showers, it's your top, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to talk why it's going.
No, I don't know. This isn't. It was just a joke, which was a very bad joke. The fact that the players are having to be in sync rather than have showers and baths.
I know. I understood the dad joke, which is why I'm glad the clock allowed me not to talk because I just want to. Exactly, mate. Exactly.
Right, back to Brendan.
Pleasure.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi,
okay.
No.
I know you mentioned about James Maddison and you're hopeful for him for Thursday. Are there any fresh injuries ahead of the game or anyone who may be doubtful ahead of Thursday?
Nobody, no one, not injured, no.
On the transfer window, last week you mentioned about possibly needing a couple of players out before maybe being able to bring one of those signings in. If Wesley Fofana is one of them, do you still feel like you need to take another member or move another player on before you can bring anyone else in?
I think we'll be able to do something. If Wesley goes, then that would hopefully give us the opportunity to do something. So I think at the beginning of the window it was earmarked that there was maybe going to be a number of people that were going to be able to go out and play, or the club could move. But that hasn't materialised. So yeah, but I'd still be hopeful that we can do something over these last few days.
How extensive has the planning been, and how difficult has it been as well, trying to work alongside other deals that may be happening this late on in the window, so that if you can press the button on one of those players, that you are able just to go and do it? What's that planning kind of scenario has been like?
Yeah, well, it was very, very difficult, as you can imagine. You're trying to prepare for so many what-if scenarios. Because like I said, when you don't have the funds there to be able to do anything, then of course it is very difficult. But like I say, that there's hasn't stopped a lot of great work going on behind the scenes from many people. But of course, when you can't press the button to bring players in, then of course it can always be a challenge.
How confident?
We'll leave the actual conference there because it does actually lead us on to sort of transfers. I've not heard him say that for many seasons. No injuries.
I know. You see my little dance I did when I heard that. Like, no injuries.
I know that is good, but I mean, obviously the problem we've got now is is how much we spend of that. As I don't think we've got the whole 75 million to spend, and I would understand that. I would understand that. So, but I think what was that a weird, veiled question as to whether some players are not playing for him? I don't. It's you can read so much into the way these things are said, but I am conscious of the time because we're just coming up to the hour now. So I do want to go on to the links that the players that we have been linked with, because there's been quite a few. If we've only got 75 million, guys. If you do this, we're going to go out on a Nottingham Forest spending spree. But we'll look at these straight after this quick break.
Broadcasting live worldwide. Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Give me 5 from Leicester Till I Die TV. Join in as we look at the good, the bad, and even the ugly of Leicester City. The Leicester Till I Die shop is now open. For all your Leicester Till I Die merchandise, visit the Leicester Till I Die shop at our website.
Indeed. Now, I suppose we should start with the one that's been said that he's flying in. Vote Phase. Faes. I think he's the one that's actually been flown in. I don't think we know. I don't know an awful lot about him. I don't know if you do at all.
I don't even know how to say his name, let alone anything else about him. I'll be perfectly honest. And in a way, I guess I was half expectant of Leicester to be pulling a player in who nobody knows anything about, because we've done that quite a lot over the coming transfer windows, haven't we? So,
just looking at him here, he's actually a Reims defender. So we played them, didn't we, last season?
That was Rennes, wasn't it?
Oh, that Rennes, was it? Right. So Reims defender Wout Faes apparently has agreed a 5-year contract with us. He's 24 years old. He's seen as obviously the replacement for whose name must not be mentioned. Faes, I'm calling Faes, whether that's right or wrong, who knows. But Faes, and this is interesting, is widely regarded as a rising star in French football. Not France again. Why?
I know.
And has been linked with both Newcastle United and Torino over the summer. He made 37 appearances in Reims in League One last season. In his impressive displays, earning the club's 21-22 Player of the Season award. He came through the academy ranks at Anderlecht with Yuri Tillemans. The duo have been at the Belgium club together between 12 and 17 before Tillemans went on to Monaco. Faes has also played alongside Timothy Castagna and Dennis Pratt for the Belgium national team. Oh, he's Belgium. It's all right, guys. He's Belgium. Phew, that was close. He's Belgium. It's okay. Having made his international debut in their 6-1 Nation League victory over Poland back in June. It sounds good. Get him in. Get him signed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was reported that by Fabrizio Romano, who's one of the more reliable sources that people take, that he was flying in. It was pretty much something that Leicester have most likely been going on behind closed doors, as we expect, knowing that Chelsea are going to cave or meet the demands for a fine, or we were more confident that the deal was going to go through, and for a reasonable price by the sounds of things. I mean, people have to remember, first of all, from that 70 or 75 million or whatever it is, the club are going to reinvest some of that money. St Etienne are going to take their slice of pie. So anybody expecting Leicester to suddenly have 50 million to chuck at it, I hate to burst your bubble. They're probably going to have up to about 30 at max, probably spending it, maybe negotiating something like 30 in add-on. So 24 years of age, good experience, a new up-and-coming international, has connections at the club in terms of Tillemans from not just Belgium, but Anderlecht, but he's got Pratt and Castagna there. So seems like he fits the Leicester bill. From all the names I know of, even though I don't know a lot about these players that we have been linked with, he definitely surrounds that Leicester aura, doesn't he? You know, if you're ticking boxes in terms of what he'll bring, Player of the Year in France, obviously for Reims, not obviously Player of the Year for the French League. Well, I don't know. He might have got like on a bench mention in that. I don't know, but obviously clearly sought after. Thankfully, Belgium, not French, given the quick history we've got with with a certain Frenchman. So that's one plus as well. So it sounds very promising. And again, I know we can't always take these sources for the word, but with the source it came with, that's broken many a deal and transference for lots of clubs, not just their own in the past, and how quickly that one was pretty much first at the queue. I'm more inclined to believe that this is at least choice one. Whether he becomes a player or not is a different story, but definitely choice one.
Well, you say choice one, right? Because the other player that has apparently been flown in, and this is why I said at the start East Midlands Airport would be very, very busy, is Bogger. But surely he can't be called Bogger, can he? That would be... I'm just trying to find his story now.
That one's been brought to light more this morning, hasn't it?
Yes, and it's actually on Rob Tanner's piece. Leicester, and that's the Atlanta winger. Now, my God, if we get a defender and a winger, I've got to be honest with you, and if Tielemans does go because of this supposed interest from Liverpool that are going to make a bid on the last day, then and we get these two in, it actually won't have been a bad window.
No, it wouldn't have been, would it? If you look at the as it is, you get rid of a problem, an infestation, if you will. You get rid of a player that doesn't want to commit any further than he is to you, so it's indifferent. And then you replace them, and you not only do you replace the centre back option, you use the squad to replace the midfielder that we'll lose in Tielemans, and then you use any excess money to fill that void in that right winging role. It's actually a good window for Leicester. Better late than never, as the saying would be.
Well, it's not over until the fat lady sings, is it?
Very true. More talks were the idea. I believe this might be with another name that was mentioned to it. Funny enough, from Atalanta, is Leicester are going for that old. We want him on loan to see how he does before we sign him, but they want to sell him things.
Yes.
Again, but it's good.
It's only 15 million. It says here Leicester. This is on Sky, and it's also on, like I say, the Athletic as well with Rob Tanner. Leicester in talks with Atlanta over a deal for former Chelsea winger Jermaine Boga. Loan deal and substantive transfer are both options being discussed. Boga understood to be keen on the move and feels he has a point to prove in the Premier League. Having come through Chelsea's academy, the French-born...
We can't escape French or Chelsea, can we?
The French-born Ivory Coast international.
There we go. Yeah. There we go.
I just had to leave that French bit in there, though. Made only one league appearance before joining... Oh, Doug's in. I need Doug's help with this. Salucio, and then Atlanta. He spent a season on loan with Birmingham in the Championship. A winger. We need that. Let's not learn by the Lookman saga. We had Under on a loan for a year, and we probably only wish we'd had him for a month at the most. Lookman, okay, he wasn't the best player you're going to see, but he never let us down. He could play on both wings, which Brendan likes those sort of players, and he knew where the goal was. He has struggled. This is again bogus still. He's 25. Moved to Sassuolo in 28 or Sassuolo. That's it, Sassuolo. I've just did it in Doug's accent and it came to me in 2018 before moving to Atlanta. He's also been at Bergamo. He has struggled for minutes under Gian Piero Gasparini, with Adamo Lookman, who joined the club this summer after a year on loan at Leicester, seeing far more involvement. Leicester had an option to sign Lookman, and they didn't go ahead. So those two look the two, the two horses that are leading the race, if you like.
Yeah, they definitely do. Again, maybe we should clarify. Lookman was a player that was actually wanted, but at the time, Fofana didn't care to mention the fact that he wanted out the club, so Leicester couldn't negotiate. And not, it's hypothetical, and in hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I would wonder, had Leicester known that Fofana was wanting out the club, if Lookman would have held out for the move to Leicester, because he seemed just as comfortable here as Leicester fans are taken to him. It's one of them that I'll always feel. I'd like to say in a couple of years' time, maybe we do bring him back here on a permanent basis. We'll see. but he is one I think that Leicester are collectively gutted and missed out on. But two very strong rumours and you know, experience, a little bit older than what we used to bring in normally, 21, 22-year-olds, which isn't a bad thing. It's nice to get that mix. And maybe Brendan talks about this experience, and we need to get the experience, and maybe that's why it's a 24-year-old and not a 19, 20-year-old we're looking at. Maybe that's the reason.
I think it's a good age to be getting players, because we do know that Brendan is good at bringing players through. You know, we've seen it. Dewberry Hall was pre-him, but we've seen it a bit with Luke Young. He's very lucky in the fact that we have got such a good academy there. Brunt is one that's coming through. We saw quite a few come through last season and the season before that have actually now been sold, but it's brought some money of some sort into the club. Obviously not great deals because of the youth players. But when you've got, and I know at the start of the season, we actually retained 15 of the youth players. So if you're retaining 15 youth players that you think might have a chance, you don't need to necessarily buy youth because you've got those players coming through. So you can go, we don't want to go back to the days of Martin Allen where we were signing, as much as we love old Celez and players like that. You know, we were like the Derby and Jones club of the Championship, weren't we? Because we bought everybody that there was a name that was available, you know. So we don't want to go back to that. So I think that's a good. I mean, one's 24, one's 25, and if we can get, I mean, I know. Did it say 15 million for? Did they say for?
I think you said that for Boga.
For Boga, yeah. And I'm just looking at how much. But if we get, let's say they're both 15. You know, 30 million, we've got 48 million pounds, all right, less what, you know, St Etienne wanted. But, you know, we'll, and I think we will be quids in and leave top enough money to kind of top the coffers up. No pun intended.
Yeah, and again, you know, for all the frustrations, it's funny how quickly things can be spun to sound positive at a football club. In an instant, because realistically, Chris, and I'm sure we've talked more than enough about it, but if you was to come off the end of last season and look at Leicester's squad on paper, you'd have gone, they might actually have a quiet window. Without knowing the financials, without knowing that we're tight on FFP, if you took all that aside and just went, actually, and you went through every squad and what they might need to do, you'd probably looked at Leicester and gone, do they really need to strengthen? I mean, if they get Lootman in, they don't really need a right winger. They maybe want backup. But I can't see Leicester doing too much in the window, and that's proved the case for different reasons. But I don't actually think Leicester would have done too much more in the way of winning.
That's a very valid point. And I mean, here, Southampton lead a 5-horse race for Maitland-Niles at Arsenal. It wasn't so long ago that we were in that race, allegedly. Unfortunately, we've pulled up, thank God. But yeah, I just want to quickly run through. I mean, these are players that have been linked with us, and the Leicestershire Live / Leicester Mercury have done us a very decent. This is Luke Pawley and Josh Holland over at Leicestershire Live. Some of the players we've been linked with and their odds of actually coming to the club. I think now, though, they were probably roughly with the two names we mentioned, but Tyrone Mings is valued at 8-1 and favourite of these.
Yeah. Right, so let me just quickly educate people that maybe don't do any gambling and always gamble responsibly if you do. If you put £1, right, at 8-1 or a tenner on us to get Tyrone Mings, you'll lose £10. It's not going to happen. No. He's off. He's not. No. I don't want.
There's problems there as well, attitude-wise, because you know he's been stripped of the captaincy by Steven Gerrard. Yeah. Well, that doesn't happen for no reason.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And you know, we're talking about a guy who, he's played a few times for England, but he was like 8th choice centre. There was a joke going around, wasn't there? It was like he became 8th choice centre back at Bournemouth. No, you know, if you do want to go and put a bet on it and you like to chuck money away, go and put it on Mings because he's not going to be a Leicester player. I just would hate to see that. I just don't think he's
Well, Ray wants him. Ray
Oh,
wants
fair
him.
enough, Ray. That's you.
But I've got to be honest with you. I'm with you there. Sometimes it's better not to make a signing than to sign certain players, and I think we've just got rid of, the bad smell that's been in the changing rooms, and I think we would get another bad smell if we brought in Tyrone Mings, to be honest with you, because I think he is. I mean, Ray says here he is a true Leicester centre-back. And then you got James saying Mings wouldn't work out at Leicester. I don't want... Look at Arteta. Look at Arteta at Arsenal. He's got rid of all the troublemakers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could say that those troublemakers are experienced pros. And, they may have felt a little bit annoyed that somebody with, less experience is now managing them. But... And obviously, I mean, Arteta has had the experience. Look at Ten Hag at Manchester United. He's got a lot of players there, including Ronaldo, that he doesn't want, that you've got to get rid of. Now, we know, or we don't know, that's not being fair. We are presuming that he who must not be named was causing a lot of unrest in the City dressing room. Well, if he's gone... Don't replace him with somebody else that's going to cause or has got a reputation as being trouble.
No.
Ray says we have tremendous problems in the air. We do, but I'd say Tyrone. Now, this is an interesting one because I would put
right over that.
Sorry?
He said there was problems in the air, and I said, yes, Bill Collins. You skipped right over it. I know, I'm sorry. I should have kept my mouth shut. I should have known there's a reason you skipped right over me saying that.
I didn't hear it. I do apologise. And I've got to be honest with you, I don't think I would have understood it.
In the air tonight.
Once you explained it, I got it.
It's a bad joke if you have to explain it.
Yeah. There's loads of things that you can say that were about, I can feel it in the air tonight, but we won't. David says too early. David says Mings is useless. Unfortunately, does a great job of chewing gum vigorously to give off the impression that he is calm, under fire, etc. But he ain't that good. He only just appears to be in control. Well, I wouldn't have a dinner. Now, I'm not saying that this would ever happen, but I would put a 10. I would want this to happen, and this is going to surprise people. Harry Maguire at 12-1. He came up and it is so left field, it's untrue. It is never going to happen. Chelsea want him and they can outbid us. I don't know whether Ten Hag actually wants him to go. And I obviously wouldn't be paying anything near what they paid us for him. But I mean, if he was available, let's say as a £15 million defender, yes, I would sign him because the way he was when he was at Leicester, he was a good, solid defender. He brought the ball out. He came forward with the ball, not unlike Vestergaard against Stockport, in fairness, but he would bring that ball out. And next to Johnny Evans, I think you would have a bloody good defence. The fact that he's like he is now is because of what... I mean, he takes a lot of the blame because he's the Man United captain, but you're not telling me he's the only player that's awful at Man United.
No, he's not. And again, we have to remember, for all the stick we gave for the fee we got for him and him leaving, he didn't leave us on bad terms in terms of how he was as a professional. And again, Man U fans had come round to the defence of him. He didn't ask Man U to pay 80 million for him. No. He wanted to go to Man U, yeah, but he was happy to stay at Leicester if it didn't materialise.
He signed a new contract at Leicester to make sure we got some money.
Exactly. He was ever the professional. I've got to give a lot of credit to him. And had Manchester United paid, say, 40 million for him, with add-ons, maybe pushing it to 50 or whatever, I think that would have still been a reasonable price for what he paid for him. And again, I wouldn't see it happening, and I'm totally with you. If you're going to waste money, that's a bet to waste it on. But surprisingly, Chris, I do agree with you. If he was on the price range, which he's not going to be, unless Ten Hag really doesn't like him, the it could be that drastic. But unless it's on the 15-20 million price range, which unless Ten Hag really resents him as a person, he's not going to sell him for that little. I would bring him in though if that was the case.
Yeah, no. Terry said it's on Insta. What? Sorry, we spoke about a lot, Terry, and that'll be interesting to see what is trending on Instagram. Ross Barkley 16-1. You've got to say he's left Chelsea by mutual consent. That doesn't bode well, does it?
Well, no, he apparently went to Chelsea, so he's definitely somebody who wants to get himself back out there and be playing football. I wouldn't be opposed to bringing him in, but with stories over the last week of Pratt and Samore making somewhat of a U-turn, I suppose more in Samore than the Pratt situation, but I don't think we need him ultimately now.
Sorry, just breaking news. Sorry, literally breaking news. Sorry to interrupt, mate. Leicester City striker George Hurst is having a medical at Blackburn ahead of a loan move to the club.
Oh, great. Another youth player getting out, getting some experience in the Championship. I hope that happens, and I wish him all the best if it's a loan move. That in the Championship, and the Sun fans of this channel won't like me saying Blackburn are a big club in that division. They're a very...
Well, they were at the top not so long ago,
Absolutely good on him. I hope he gets in their team. I hope he does really well, and I hope he has a successful season with Blackburn if that's the case. Again, more to your point, we don't need to be signing these youngsters because we're doing what we're doing with these youngsters that are at the club, and we're getting them out to good Championship squads. Great news, in my opinion.
Oh, look, I think he means, Terry's just DM'd me. I think I can't see, but I'm guessing from this it is Wesley Fofana's.
Sorry,
I know. I just said the name. Hang on, I'm going to hit myself. God, sorry.
You need
he must not be named. Has done a goodbye message apparently.
Don't care.
So let's have a quick read. During these 2 seasons here, I've played one. During these 2 seasons here, I have probably experienced the most intense moments of my young football career. I have grown as a player, but also as a man. Thank to you, Foxes fans. It's broken English, but with a little picture emoji of a fox, for your kindness and your constant support, even in the moments you were led to believe I didn't respect the club. I will never forget how we vibrated, exalted, or cried together. Did you ever vibrate with him?
No, I didn't. I certainly didn't. And my lawyers have told me to say that.
I will never forget you. I chose not to communicate during this transfer window, despite all the criticism and all the often false and misleading comments, even when they were coming from the club. I understood and I learned. I didn't want to damage the image of the institution, and I chose to take it rather than answer. I thank Top for his understanding. Thanks to the managers, to the coach who's always appreciated me, even if he chose to expose me a lot lately. I got it, coach. Winky emoji. Thanks to all the trust.
I don't care. Just why you got to have a jibe in the midst of trying to repair something? It's like, grow up.
I know. I mean, okay, fair enough for doing that, but you've not really done much because you made it worse for yourself, but hey ho, it is Fofana, he says. So anyway, I'm twice.
God's sake. You know that Dobby? You ever seen Harry Potter? When Dobby has the thing in the lamp and he smacks it against his head? That's what you need to get yourself on.
I actually did have a... it's there. I've got it. No, I've got it. There you go.
Bad Dobby. Bad.
10 lashes for mentioning he who must not be mentioned's name again. Hayden's in and probably wonders what he's just come into. Hi, Hayden. Welcome to Leicester Till I Die S&M's show. How the devil is everybody? We did start that on George. I think it's a great move for George Hurst. I really do. And I think he's done it at Portsmouth, which was a couple of divisions down. They wanted him back, and that kind of says what you need to know. So good luck. I don't know where Blackburn are now. They're not top now, but good luck to him at Blackburn. I wish him well. Wish him well. What can I just say? One of the better Northwest teams in
it also shows how and it also shows how well he must have done at Portsmouth, because Leicester would have obviously received that offer from Portsmouth, and he no doubt would have been going, well, I enjoyed my time there, I'd be happy to go back. And Leicester have gone, no, we think you can handle playing at a higher level than where Portsmouth are residing at the moment, and that's why, he's joining. And he's not just joining like a newly promoted side or a low to mid-table championship side. With the greatest respect to that division, he's joining, like I said, was a very established name in the footballing world, as well as in the championship, probably more over the last 20, 30 years, but still a side of great quality. So it's good to see we're sending players to that sort of club to get out there and get some minutes under their belt.
Just have a look where Blackburn are. Oh, they're down in 10th now.
I was going to say, what should be like 22nd or something, and really.
I was looking for them at the top. I'm thinking, bugger. Norwich are in second.
Yeah, they'll be back to
Watford are in fourth. Watford are in fourth.
Can we just not double relegate these sides and stop this silly yo-yo? Can we not just say,
if you get relegated, maybe you shouldn't come back up the first season?
I think maybe they should do that. They should just not allow them.
That would be a good idea. I'm just going to go through the rest of them. I'll just read them out as a list, and because we come up to an hour and a half now. So Adama Traore was 16-1 rated to come to us. Along with Villa, Barcelona, Palace, and Leeds. Tottenham are the favourites to sign him at 5-1. Ainsley Maitland-Niles 20-1. I don't want him if I can help it.
No, I don't.
Conor Gallagher 20-1. I think he'll stay at Chelsea or maybe alone, but that I would have taken that.
Yeah, I would take that despite his red card against us. I would definitely take that. I think he's going to either stay there or loan to Palace. I don't see that.
Yeah. Ivan Toney, I don't know why we were 7th favourites to get him. I don't know why we would want him. We've got Daka and Nacho, to my mind, will be very, very good. And Vardy, it's not a 90-minute every week player now. And we're going to either Man United or Brighton. We're going to see Daka start, I think. But we don't need another. We don't need him. Armando Broja, again, another striker from Chelsea. Jack Harrison. Kept Leeds United up on the final day last season with 4th favourites to sign him. Could be on his way out of Ellen Road. I don't even know what position does he play, but
I can't remember if he's a midfielder or a centre back. But either way, I don't see him as a viable option. Maybe one for next season. We'll have to see when we're a bit more structured and maybe.
People have spoken a lot about him, but I don't ever remember seeing a particularly brilliant performance from him.
I don't ever see anything.
But then again, and Jordan's just come in. Good afternoon, Jordan. When you can score 9 goals against Bournemouth and your most expensive and best striker doesn't get even an assist, what is going on? Let's all go in for Saha. Not Saha. What's he called? Salah. Joking, Jordan. We come to forward his right leg. Leon Bailey, apparently 33-1 from Aston Villa winger. I don't think those. We're getting down to the thing. Armando Broja was with Southampton last season. Oh, that is immediately no. If he's been at Southampton, no. We're not going.
Unless it's the next reincarnation of a young Gareth Bale, we're not interested.
Exactly. Harrison is a progressive left back for Leeds. Well, okay, fair dues. We've obviously still got the injured Ryan Bertrand there. Bertrand, the French guy. Oh, hello everybody. How are we all? Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day. Hussein Arowe, 33-1 from Leon. I don't know whether he's gone to Forest. He was on his way to Forest. Now, here we go. Here we come with the great names. Cody Gakpo. Had an impressive 21-22 campaign. Started his current term with 6 goals. A PSG, apparently, on that one. And then we get down, and that's it. That's it. So, to be honest with you, I think the two we're seriously linked with are two extremely and probably the best players.
Sounds like it on that link. I mean, yeah, just Conor Gallagher on there. That's probably the only other standout name that's a long shot with his odds, and I can't see it happening, but he's probably the only other name of interest on that list that you've just reeled off there that I'd be looking at going, well, yeah. I mean, maybe Conor Gallagher next season, if, we will be a year short, we'd probably maybe reanalyse Samore and Pratt and maybe Mendy would be up for discussion for leaving next season. So maybe then the gap opens up if he's still a Chelsea player. Because they're obviously our parent club, Chelsea, it feels like, doesn't it? So, But yeah, on the list of that, I'm happy with the 2 front runners to come into the club in comparison to the rest of the names on there.
Just out of interest, Leicestershire Live have just posted Wesley Fofana breaks silence after sealing dream Chelsea transfer from Leicester City. But they
let me get the world's smallest violin out for him first.
Hang on again. Hang on.
You said it again, Chris.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm just my worst. I'm my own worst enemy, aren't I?
Yeah. Just remember, his name translates into English as Rat Snake Boy. That's what you call him from now on. The Rat Snake Boy.
I should practice that. But the thing is, what I don't. It doesn't mention about anything about the raised eyebrows moments we had.
Yeah, exactly. Funny enough,
it doesn't mention any of those. But anyway, that is it. Man United coming up.
Yeah.
Join me at 7:30 when I will be on Devils United TV with Maisie doing a preview of the game, and then her and another Man United fan, Reese, will join me and Craig at 9 to do exactly the same on my channel.
Lovely.
I'm going to be probably seeing you again if you join me post match. Not because of the way it is with midweek ones and the fact that it's a late match. We won't be doing a post match show for the Man United, but we will be tagging it on to the end of the watch along.
Yes, we will. We'll be doing that way. I'll be going in at full time.
Yeah, and we'll stay. You're welcome on before, obviously, if you want to. And we'll also be talking, and whether you want to stay with us or not, I don't know. But we'll also just be going on for the till the end of the window as well, which will be about an hour. So we'll be including that as well. Brad, thank you very much, young man. You do have your own channel, A Matter of Opinion. Which is basically what it says on the tin, isn't it? People come on and have different opinions about things.
Yeah, they do. I do a show every Thursday. Due to scheduling by the wonderful Premier League and FA, I won't be going live at my usual time of 8 p.m, but I have scheduled a show, ironically called The Problem with Football Is. And I've put a few dots on there because obviously, as my show entails, it's what your opinion is what do you think is currently wrong in the world of football. That will be, however, at 6:30 because, again, wonderful scheduling of a late kickoff on a Thursday. But if you want to join me for that, get your opinions on what you think the problem with football is at the moment in the world of football as a whole, join me 7:30 on Thursday. That is, this Thursday. I will. That's what I want to speak to you about because if you are free, it'd be great to have you on. If not, that's fine. But I want to get your opinion on a few things. Opinion. But yeah, that's the show I'm doing this Thursday at 6 Thursday. So it'd be great if you guys here could tune in. If Chris
do make sure you get over there because there is never a right and a wrong answer. You know what I mean? It is literally your opinion, and that is what is great about the channel. And there is a link to it in the YouTube description below.
Appreciate that.
Oh,
mate.
Terry's
Thank you.
going out tonight. Terry, you do watch it on catch up. I'll speak to you straight after, Brad. No problem. Stay tuned. And as they say on the radio, stay on the line. We'll take your name and number.
No worries, mate.
You know, I am. If nothing, I am just a frustrated DOT. Read into that what you will. Speak to you in a few. I could have said a lot worse, obviously. Speak to you in a few minutes, Brad. Thanks for coming on, mate. Take care.
No worries. Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, do go and check that. A Matter of Opinion, like I say, on YouTube. Full-time Focus on Instagram. Not on Instagram, on Twitter. The Matter of Opinion link is in the description below on YouTube. This show is only going out on YouTube, so if you're watching, I'm guessing you're on YouTube. Go and check that out. It is a great channel. Matty's literally just come in at the last minute. You're late, Matty. Hope you got a note from your mother. Newcastle are wanting Tielemans on the deadline, so apparently are Liverpool. I'm guessing let's add Man United in there. Why don't we? And Arsenal coming in, and you know, I believe you know, Blackburn Rovers. Let's add them in. You know, Luton Town. We'll just add the list to the list. The name to the list of names. But I'm going to be back. Thank you for joining us today. This was a very impromptu one. It wasn't the most exciting press conference you will ever see. Join me, like I say, 7:30 when I'll be on Devils United, and at 9 o'clock back on here with Maisie from Devils United and Reese. A couple of proper Man United fans. They're not. You know, well, you know what I mean. They're great to have on. Thanks for joining me now. Thanks, I say so much again to Brad. I will see you later on in one form or another. James is cheers, Chris. See you soon, mate. Big up Brad as well, indeed. Thanks so much, guys. Don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy. I'll see you in a few hours. Good afternoon.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
This week's episode has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all over. It is now.